Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. In this week's video, I'm going to be going through the various things I managed to get planted this week. Between planting the garden and working on the house, I haven't had a lot of time to do filming, so this is just the quick hits of the week. In my last video, I talked about fertilizing the onions. Well, I actually fertilized these garlic at the same time, and I used blood meal for this too. And same way, I just put blood meal in between the rows and then watered it in. Now, some of these garlic are getting pretty thick here. So hopefully we'll have a good harvest, and the largest ones I'll save for replanting in the fall. For planting out the corn, I first laid out my drip tape. And I'll go all the way down there by the garlic. So in this spot in here is where I'm going to plant the corn I started ahead of time in trays. And then right after that, over here, I will direct seed the corn. And I'll duplicate that same process over in this bed. I pulled all the corn out and put them in the cell tray first. So these are all the plants. And I'm just going to dig a hole, put that in there. I'm going to bury it just a little bit because later on I'll end up hilling this corn up. So I'm going to plant it right next to that drip tape so that the water gets to that plant. And I'll do the same on this side. Put one there. Bury that up a little bit. And then I'm going to go over about 8 inches or so. I'm not measuring it, I'm just eyeballing it. Put the next plant in. Put that one in there. In the corn seed, I'm going to move 8 inches over from the transplant. And I'm going to drop, we'll say, 3 seeds in the hole. I'm not quite so sure about the germination on these seeds based on what I got in the trays. So if I get too many, I can always thin them out. So another 8 inches. Drop 3 more seeds. I'm going down approximately 1 inch below the soil, not counting the mulch. The mulch goes on top. Planting the peppers is very similar to planting the tomatoes, except I don't have to dig them as deep. So I'm going to just clear back a little bit of this mulch on the top. Dig a good hole for them. Now this particular variety is the Santa Fe. Go ahead and put that in. And then to keep them upright, I just cut some sticks. I put them in here and I'll tie them to it. And since I have 3 plants for this one area, they're going to be about 16 inches apart. Dig a hole. I can just kind of pop that back in. This plant's staying a little more upright. I'll still put a stick in that I can use to keep it up, to kind of tie it up. Tie this plant up. I have like a little nub here where a branch is growing on the stick. So first thing I'm going to do is just tie a single knot right at that spot. I can wrap it around the plant. Now, since this one is kind of starting to branch, I'm threading it through a few of the leaves. And I'll just tie a knot in here so it stays in the right spot. I have the pepper bed fully planted out now. So these are the Santa Fe's. And then we got some California Wonder, Cubanelle, and then down there on the end is you got Alma paprika and Bulldog paprika. I did plant some flowers here in the center. It's just to add some color and bring in a few pollinators to help with pollinating the peppers. These are all the in-ground potatoes, so they're all coming up. And down in this section, this is my broccoli. I just used PVC pipes to create like a little tunnel for the insect netting to keep the cabbage moth off. Next thing I need to do is plant some squash in this bed. I have 3 butternut squash I'm going to be putting on this side of the bed, and then I have watermelons to go in on that side. But the watermelons aren't quite ready yet. So to get started, this bed I want to top it up so it's all the way up. So I'm going to just move away all the wood chips. I have compost sitting here that I'll use to top it up, and I'll plant the squash into that. Before I put the actual plants in the ground, I'm going to add some balanced organic fertilizer to the soil and just kind of mix that in. Then I'll put the squash in. The last thing I need to do is water these in, but I'm going to do that off camera. So my plan for these are a vining squash, so I'm going to allow them to grow out and then spill over to the bed, and then they can kind of just take over this whole area over here without interfering with anything else I might have in the bed. The other thing I got planted this week is the Italian basil, and the companion to that would be the oregano, which is a perennial, and I planted that a couple years ago and used some of that this evening for dinner. So that covers most of my gardening week. Hope you're able to get out in the garden and get some of your stuff planted. If so, let me know down below what you got in. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed. Hope you got something out of this, and we'll see you on the next one.